Hello.
Testing the speakers.
Hi, Droeks.
Yes, I can hear
Can
you.
you hear
Can you
me?
hear me? I can hear you.
I can't
I
hear
can
you
hear
this
you.
side.
I don't know what's wrong. Camera, can you see me? Audio. Hello. It's showing on this side. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hi. Yes, I can see you and I can hear you.
Can you check if you're not muted? Your microphone. Yes, we are muted now.
Now it's unmuted. You still can't hear me. It
No,
says on
I
my...
can't hear you this side. Okay, let me just check my volumes. Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, my technology sometimes can embarrass you. I was
No, I'm not very good
the
at it as
laptop
well.
volume was on 0. Yeah,
So you
so
can hear
he
me
most
clearly now.
embarrassed me. Yeah, I can hear it
All right,
clearly.
so we're ready.
Good. How are you? How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm always good when I'm talking to boxing to you guys. From the absence of an Orient theatre, I miss that place.
Great. Hey, yeah, Orient Theatre is another place. You can't go for too long without visiting it. The crowds, the events that are hosted there, are the best, that we've seen, in the country.
It's the best place, yeah. It's our Blue Horizon in Philadelphia in America. I've never been there, but there's a small arena there called the Blue Horizon. It's supposed to be this hardcore fight club, and I think the Orient Theatre is that to us.
Oh, yes. Or we can call it our own Madison Square Garden.
That's it. The small theatre.
Yes. Okay, Droeks, we are going to start now. Okay, I want to welcome everyone who's watching, to Mbuyeke's boxing interview. This is the second one that we are doing. We have invited Mr. Droekes Malan, a boxing expert, a boxing writer. And of course, he's going to tell us more about his profile. We don't want to misrepresent him of really who he is in terms of boxing, because I think he's multi-talented, and also this sport. I mean, it's obvious. It's there for everyone to see, and it's always good to work with him in Mbuyekezo, and sometimes we rate his good stories, in Ring Magazine, and we see that Droeks, you attend almost possibly, most of the tournaments in the country. Tell us about yourself, Droeks. What made you to like this sport and to take this decision that we are going to build a career in boxing?
Boxing, I think it started for me there in the 80s, with the Fabulous Four. I remember back in the day, everybody used to buy Mnet decoders to watch boxing. I'm giving away my age. But then one day, I was quite aware of the big names like Paddy Kutsia and Brian Mitchell and Dingaan Tobela and Sugarboy Malinga, all those guys. But then I was a teenager. I think I was just about 13, 14 years old maybe. And I saw this fight, Marvelous Marvin Hagler against Sugar Ray Leonard on Mnet, the pay channel in those days.
Beautiful.
And I was
Beautiful fight.
And I watched that fight and I thought, wow, this is something. These guys these are next level fighters. And I'm a little bit of a nerd. Once I get interested in something, I really delve into it deeply. So from there on, I tried to read everything that I could find on boxing, find every video. In those days, we had the video cassettes. We couldn't stream. You had to order them from overseas sometimes, and just watched everything. But I could, and went into the history of a sport. And from that's where it grew from, And then I started writing for Boxing World. You remember there was a magazine called Boxing World way back then. It was a trade magazine. It was out every month. And it was quite popular. And Bert Blewett, the late Bert Blewett, who did Blow by Blow with, I believe, Dingaan Tobela and Nick Collis, and I think also with our colleague Loiso Mcha. He gave me a chance and published one of my articles there in that magazine. And then as I grew older, when I was in the army, I tried to box, but I wasn't very good. And it's not a sport that you can do if you're not very good.
Oh, nice.
You can see the nose, The nose is very straight.
True.
In profile. So, I had a few months of that, and those guys, they moved me well. So I know what it is like to get hit in the face and all that training. So that gives me a healthy respect for the sport, because I know it's not an ordinary person cannot do this. It's only the toughest of the tough and the fittest of the fittest. I used to be a wrestler before that. I was okay with that. I did provincial colors, but it's also a combat sport. You don't get punched in the face. You get picked up and you get thrown on the floor, which is different. I understand that mentality of a combat sport, and all the making weight. Thank the Lord, I don't have to make weight. I'm waiting for the bridge weight to come now. Maybe I can reduce. But then I sort of just became Boxing World became defunct. I just became an ordinary fan, and I think in 2012 I wanted to start writing about it again, because I write about various things. My day job, I'm in property, in real estate, and then the sideline is boxing. And then I started doing this column for Ring Magazine. On the monthly magazine, they have a column called started as Around the World. It's World Beat now. And I've got about 700 words there in representing South Africa. Sometimes a bit of the rest of Africa as well.
Wow.
So that's how it started.
Beautiful.
So I got to cover these fights for Ring Magazine. So that's how I started getting to all the shows and being able to travel a bit more. So I try to be at everything that I can, which isn't everything. I'm at I think I've been at all of Rumble Africa's last shows, a couple of Kaba Promotions shows. Those are the big guys in the Eastern Cape, and all of Golden Gloves shows lately, and then a couple here in Cape Town, and then also got to do some TV commentary with Kwese TV. With Ade Oladipo, who's down the zone, commentated alongside Ade on Kwesi Sports. And then unfortunately there when Kwesi Sports, I don't know what it is, if I'm at a place too long it closes. But then I did commentary with streaming services, SAI Sports, and then also on SABC. I was there a couple of times, unfortunately canned shows. And I got to see some interesting things. I had to talk my way through a boxer falling out of a ring, when Ruan Visser went over the top rope. And then also at the Orient Theatre, when I joined you guys on Mbuya Kezo boxing channel, that was, of course, a great thing for me, because I got a commentator inside Bra Lois. And that was also a challenge. You can remember we had Chicken Man. It was hard to stay talking through that.
Don't mention that. That guy, he shocked me. He shocked me, and I've not been angry in a very long time, but I could not hold myself. I had to chase him.
But it's hard to talk through things like that, because I remember when I was ringside for heavyweight title fight between Ruan Visser and Tiaan Fik, the top rope broke, and out went Ruan Visser on the ring floor. And I was alone behind the microphone, because the promoter, Jack Bryce, was co-commentating with me, and he was standing in the ring, and there goes a boxer outside of the ring. So that's when your general knowledge counts. So what could I talk about? I talked about Fan Man going to a ring with Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield, the second fight. And afterwards, the guys in the truck said on the ear microphone, okay, you can stop it going off air. So that saved me
there. No, you guys handled it very well for us. Thank you very much. It was an embarrassing situation. We've never had something like that, before, and we didn't know how to react, but you guys handled it very well.
But we had great boxing that day as well. A great knockout by Yanga Sipribo, and Steven Onchinga had a good performance there against a Filipino fighter.
Beautiful. Yes. No, thanks, Droeks, for that background to yourself. Now we know you better. Let's discuss boxing, Droeks, and let me warn you, we are trying to secure an interview with Azinga and Chief. They understanding that there is delays, so they will come in when they're ready. But for us, we'll continue with our discussion. But it would be nice, to be graced by their presence, so that at least we can give them some good words of wisdom as they are facing Ogawa in the US. Now, let's start with the boxing in the Western Cape. What do you think about boxing in the Western Cape? What's happening? I hear from now and then that there are tournaments, but I'm not sure if it's a project that is sustainable, or there are issues with boxing in the Western Cape.
We can't compare to Gauteng, what happens there, and to the Eastern Cape. So we're sort of like a stepchild, and COVID, with a restriction on people at tournaments, that really hurts a promoter, especially the smaller shows. It has to go ahead without TV or just streaming with, I think the last couple of times it was SEI Sports in Cape Town, and we had guys like Jack Bryce and Savas by sort of keeping it alive. And it's more your development shows. I think during the lockdown, probably the highlight was we had a South African heavyweight title fight between Josh Pretorius and Tian Fuk. And then various others. We also had a very good fight there between Antonio Mayala and Henri Lando. That was almost a fight of a year candidate. So the guys who saw it on SEI Sports streamed there. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about these streaming services, but if you did see it, it was a good fight. We've got a lot of these transplanted fighters from other African countries like the DRC and Angola and so on there around Cape Town.
Yes.
So got your mainstay that are always on the cards, guys like Cristiano and Dombasi, whom we saw there at the convention center in East London once fighting Emani Colombo. Guys like Antonio Mayala, that kind of guys who put up a good fight. They're not necessarily top guys who are going to go all the way or what, but they make for some good fights. And so it's more development level stuff. But last time I was in Joburg, I came down and I was a guest at one of Sava's tournaments, and we had a heavyweight fight, development kid that's 3-0, Jean the Rhino Roux. And he was fighting a Didier Nyemwe, a journeyman whose claim to fame mostly is he always goes the distance. Nobody can knock him out. He went the distance once again. And now Jean Roux is going to fight on a Golden Glove show in Joburg against Boyalam Nebe, that big guy from Alan Tawil stable. Oh. So it's strictly smaller, more development show stuff. We're battling since the demise of Kwese Sports to get the live TV. But they're trying to do their best, but we're not on the level of an Eastern Cape. And really good guys. There's some good news as well. Abdulaziz Kunert, he moved to Joburg to Colin Nathan's camp. That's a very talented fighter. There. He lost a close decision to Asanda Gingli from the Eastern Cape, a guy we also know well that we've seen ringside for the vacant SA featherweight title. But I still think Dula is a good prospect that can go on the world level in the future. And then we have Tembani Mbangata, the other featherweight down here in Cape Town, and he's going to go fight in the UK for the Commonwealth title shortly. Fight which I think is a winnable fight.
Okay.
So there are things happening. It's not Eastern Cape, not Gauteng, but we do have some good fighters in Mbangata and Kunert. We have a South African heavyweight champion. We know the
Toto Helebe.
Toto Helebe is still around. He's a veteran now, but he's still around. We have got the fighters. We just struggle to have that level of activity. But, the guys around like Sava and Jack Price and also Bonyeme boxing, they do the best they can.
Yeah. No, I think, of course, this is a problem and a challenge for everyone in boxing, the issue of sponsorship. what can we do to market the sport and promote it in such a way that, I mean, we don't struggle to secure sponsorship or advertising revenue for media companies?
I think firstly, you've got to lift the professionalism of a sport and how it is managed and presented. We can't have these last minute tournament cancellations with very little communication going off. We know it now. It's not only in Cape Town. We've had it in Eastern Cape. We've had it in Gauteng now recently. And I'm not a promoter. You're not a promoter. It's not our money. We don't know always what goes on behind the shows, but that's something that people must learn to do away with. That sort of thing hurts sponsors. You know, end of last year, I think Moruti Mtalane was going to defend his world title, KZN. I remember I was at another show in Joburg, and the people from BSA, I said, okay, I was on the line, shall I go to KZN, shall I not? And then everybody, when we talk about Mtalane fight, sort of looked the other way, and maybe not. One of the officials says, I haven't got my ticket yet. And everybody at the last minute, it's a question of days, right? After the Joburg tournament, I remember the next day was going to be Moruti, and everybody was still unsure. And then the bomb dropped, the show's off, you know. We can't have that sort of thing because existing fighters and so on, they talk in their countries. You've got, sometimes things are unforeseen, but tournaments have got to happen. Fighters got to be paid in time. That sort of thing is what South African boxing must eliminate, because that chases sponsors away.
Yes. No, that's true. And I mean, what do you think of the relationship between boxing and media, boxing and print media, and boxing and television? You know, what do you think is the relationship? Is it a good relationship? Is it working for both parties? And maybe what can be done?
There's a main broadcast partner in South Africa, and that's not my area of expertise, but I would say that's SuperSport, right? And SuperSport has got an agreement with Golden Gloves Promotions, and they also broadcast shows from Kaba, I believe. They've covered a couple of shows as well as Rumble Africa. And I think that's great that they're doing it. Yes. But boxing is one of many sports, and it's a worldwide phenomenon, not just here. In America, in the beginning of the 1900s, I think you had baseball, and you had boxing, and you had football, and those were your choices of American gridiron football, your choices of professional sports. Now we have a whole lot of sporting shows competing for attention. It's a challenge everywhere in the world, but you know, then we have SABC. I remember a bit of commentating I did there. There was no money for it, so they had to get an outside person with a camera crew in to do it, and then they would scan the show, and then they broadcast the show in snippets on Friday nights, and then from 3 months after the show, you hear somebody say, "Oh, we heard you last night on TV," you know, and that's not an ideal situation. SABC is starting to cover boxing live again, which is great, but they mustn't do things like suddenly go to an ad break with the last round still going and not show the rest. So professionalism all around, and I think the way for the future is definitely streaming. You know, we have got the zone now. We'll see how it works in the future. So far, so good. I don't think they can't keep Kano for everyone. And we've got it ourselves. We are Cares of Boxing Channel. We started this paper with a review model. Others have since tried it as well. And I think it's basically just the future of TV, right? We all have smart TVs now, or smart box, and we stream the zone in our houses. If you decoder, you can have a subscription, you can stream DSTV. So that opens the thing for a lot of other courses to step on board. But, you know, so I think it can grow. And so it's a question of professionalism and quality content. We also have to look at the matchmaking. You know, boxing is different than MMA. The guys do take easier fights in between. You can't expect somebody to face a murderer's row each way out, but there's always a few mismatches that creep in here and there, and that's something that you must maybe look at. But that's also not good for the sport.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true, Droeks. I mean, even also ourselves, as Mbiegezo, I mean, we were the first to launch, pay-per-view, in South Africa. But of course, the only platform we could use is online, is the internet. So
Yes.
we realized that since we were there, we launched in March in 2020. A lot of people didn't know access the fights. We'll send them to ShopRite, give them instructions, use all forms of social media, to give them the
Yes.
information and the instructions of how to access the fights. But it was very, very difficult for them, and a lot of education needs to take place too in terms of literacy, IT literacy, so that people don't struggle, to access
Yeah.
this line. That, of course, I
But
think we will get there. I
people
take
will
your
come
point.
around, and you must keep in mind that we had some bad luck as well, because we were just getting started, and then the lockdown hit.
Yes,
So and when you and then
sure,
when
sure.
shows come, you have Super Sport have a much bigger budget, and you can understand from a promoter's point of
Yes,
view,
yes, yes.
those
Yeah,
fees and to keep the show viable.
exactly.
But I think
Yes,
that
yes,
is
yes.
where it's going to go in the
No,
future, especially for some of the smaller shows as well.
yes, yes. No, I agree with you. No, Brooks, I think we are going well. And I've got some couple of questions. I'm looking on the side because I just want to make sure that I don't forget anything. We're going to talk boxing, current events that are happening in the US, and also how we think Azinga is going to perform in the US on the 27th of November. But I just thought that I should just discuss boxing with you first in general, so that we understand your views, where you come from, and also we can use this as an opportunity for other people also to gain more information about our sport, because our sport is not well marketed. So this platform is also there to market our sport to non-boxing people. Okay, and then I wanted to check with you, since you're also a commentator and a writer. What do you think about the standard of officiating? Ours. What do you think there is at international level? Because I was thinking. I mean, the last time we had a renowned international official was, okay, not last time, but we had Christo Dulo, and a couple of guys, but really we never really have someone who has reached those standards currently. Is there a problem with our officiating? Why it is not growing?
I think we I've spent quite a bit of time chatting to Stan Christodoulou as well. I see him up there in Gauteng, and sometimes we go for dinner, and so we had long discussions about it, and I think there's definitely maybe a lack of training. That's not my involvement in the sport, so I'm not the expert who can comment on that. But I can see there are officials who make slip ups. I'm not going to say names, but there are officials that consistently hand in a score that's maybe not so nice, that nobody can agree with. You get guys that consistently miss a knockdown, things like that, and that's once again a worldwide phenomenon. And there must be some sort of a point system or a demerit system. It's up to the Commission on Bodies like Boxing in South Africa to devise something for keeping officials to a standard. And that's not a South African thing only. We've had, what's her name? Adelaide Bird handing in that horrible card in the first Canelo Alvarez-Gennady Golovkin fight. I'm naming it as an example because,
Yeah.
it was not that she had Canelo as a winner. It was the margin of a scorecard. I think it was 117, 111. Most people felt Triple G did enough, but people could see maybe a very close fight other way around. It ended up a draw. But she's still judging big fights. Nothing happens. Officials are human. Sometimes they get older. You get to a certain age where your reflexes are
Yes.
not that, your concentration is not that good, especially referees. We've seen some established officials suddenly make big mistakes as referees. So I think there must be some sort of a system checking the officials. If you go and not to the extent that they are afraid to call it like they see it, but if the two judges are seeing a fight by a 2-point margin and you see it the other way by 9 points or something ridiculous like that, there should be some sort of a system that makes you answer for that. But having said that, it's not that we don't officials. We had Dion Duarte refereeing the fight between Anthony Joshua and the Bulgarian guy Kubrat Pulev the other day. We've had people like Silva Mukaila judging international fights. And I'm leaving people out now as well. There's quite a couple of officials that we have that's international standard.
No, I think so.
Also, I think there's some people getting a bit long in the tooth, and there's some people that that maybe need a bit of guidance from the older officials around. You know, Neville Holtz was a very good official that's sadly now passed away due to COVID. So we do have some good officials, but I don't know what the systems are in place, and I think those systems need to be checked. It's not what it used to be.
Okay. No, thanks, Droeks. You have done very well. I think I must warn everyone who's watching that I didn't give you the questions up front. You know, you're not a politician. I just thought that I'll just jump at you and throw you with questions.
Keep me on my toes.
Very well. Thank you. Yes. Now, Droeks, let's discuss boxing now. Let's discuss boxing. Are you ready for Canelo Alvarez?
We are ready. We are ready for that one. A full-belt world champion, you know, not including the fact that he's also the Ring magazine champion. This is the last missing belt. Canelo's got the WBA, the WBC, the WBO, and now he needs that IBF bauble, and he needs to get it from Caleb Plant, who's going to try his best to upset the apple cart. We've seen some massive upsets in the COVID environment, so you can't say he hasn't got any chance. But I don't think there's anybody out there who's picking Caleb Plant to win this. Canelo is hitting his peak. He's at his best. So I think Plant is busy. I think Plant is quick. He's going to win some rounds, actually, like Billy Joe Saunders managed to do. But I think at some point, those beautiful left hooks to the body and those accurate shots from Canelo is going to get to him. I don't know what your opinion is.
I think it's going to be a very good fight. You know, I think the fight will go a distance. But I'm worried about Caleb Plant's hand speed. I think he's slower than Canelo, and I think that would be a problem for him because I saw he likes to throw one punches. And Canelo throws, 4 or 5 punches at a time. He doesn't want to throw. He's not he doesn't use boxing economics. You know, once he's in front of you, he wants to throw every punch whilst you're still in front of him. So I'm worried that Caleb Plant is going to throw 1-2 blows, maybe misses or catches him. But once he finishes that, Canelo is going to counter him with tons of, which is now, that's why now he's going to be tested, really ready for this championship. That's what I think.
Yeah, look, Canelo can be. There's ways you can. He throws good combinations, but he doesn't throw them for. He's not a volume puncher. He doesn't go for 3 minutes every round. So you can outwork him. He's not the quickest guy on his feet. He's mostly flat on his feet, but he cuts over the ring very well. You know, so guys like Eris Lande, Lara, and Floyd Mayweather way back then, but it's not the same Canelo. That sort of fighter can give him trouble. So if Plant is busy and he moves and he does a lot of angles, like I say, I think he's gonna win some rounds, but he's not gonna do it with 2 or 3 punches. He's gonna have to be busy, especially with his jab. Move.
He's great. He needs to
rounds in the bank. And I don't think he's gonna be able to do that for 12 rounds.
Yeah, no. It's going to be difficult for Plant. Yeah, so we're looking forward for the weigh-in. We hope there won't be drama that will stop the fight. You know, they can do perform so that they sell the fight, but please, they must not hit each other this time because we want
I
to see
must
the
wait for.
fight.
It's a stupid thing to do, isn't it? Because if he cut him above his eye, then maybe we wouldn't have a fight. How much money is at stake? But
Yes. No,
very,
that's
very,
true.
very, very young and irresponsible and whatnot, and maybe they're upselling the fight. But I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. But what I am a fan of
Yeah.
are unification bouts. I like the fact of an undisputed champion, don't we all? All these belts being around. And I like the fact that we'll have an
Yes.
undisputed super middleweight champion, having all
Yeah.
four major organizations. Canel's already recognized by Ring. And when last did we have, I think Joe Calzaghe had at one time, he had the WBO, WBA, and WBC belts when he beat Mikhail Kessler. And before that, he unified the WBO belt with the IBF belt against Jeff Lacey. But by the time he fought Kessler, he had to vacate for IBF. So it will be, I'm thinking now, you got me on the spot. So I'm thinking now, I don't think we've ever, it's the first time we'll see a four-belt world super middleweight undisputed champion.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. We can't miss that one. Not for a chance. Okay, and then there's another fight at the one of Teofemo Lopes
on the 27th of November.
The main bout.
Yes.
Do you know this opponent?
Yes, I went and I watched some fights of his. I watched his last two fights, George Cambosos Jr. He's the son of Greek immigrants, I believe. He's an Aussie from Australia. We had some good fighters coming out of Australia, most notably historically Jeff Fenech and Kostya Tszyu, and now we have his son Tim Tszyu also going on. But I don't think George Cambosos is a very good fighter, but he's not on the level of a Kostya Tszyu or Jeff Fenech. He's very good, but he's not special. And Teofemo Lopes is kind of special, right? He's elite. He beat Lomachenko in that upset in his last fight. But there's the inactivity factor as well. I'm looking at Lopez's last fight was in October last year. That's a year's worth of inactivity.
Yeah.
We kind of we want to see Teofemo Lopes fight Devin Haney. We want to see him fight Tank Davis if Davis is in fact going to able to fight at lightweight, and we want to see him fight Ryan Garcia, those kind of guys. But now we get almost another typical IBF mandatory challenger, George Cambosos, that nobody outside of fans, maybe in Australia, is very interested in seeing Teofemo Lopes fight. But I don't want to be too hard on it because Cambosos deserves a title shot. He did beat two former world champions in his last two fights. He beat Mickey Bay, split decision, the former lightweight world champion. Then he beat Lee Selby, the former IBF featherweight champion, on a split decision in the UK. Right, both were very close touch, especially the Selby fight. But he did eke it out, so he deserves a title shot. Pity for him that it has to be Teofemo Lopes.
Yes. Do you know the story of Thriller? Because this fight was difficult to make because there were delays,
it's like
COVID issues.
There's been 3, 4, 5 postponements. I've lost track. It's a new company, Thriller. But I don't know a lot of, and I'm not a fan because I put on all these celebrity boxing shows. A 60-year-old Evander Holyfield against the MMA guy, the Brazilian. I believe it was it Machida, or who did Holyfield fight? I don't care. I didn't want to see it, so I didn't watch it. So I think Thriller is learning the hard way now that proper boxing is not that easy to promote. But now we've got it. We've got it on the Eddie Hearn show. And I think what we, of course, are interested in supporting that.
Yes. No, that's good. That's a good one. And this bout, it's, of course, it will be seconded or will be followed by, Azinga Fuzile, versus Ogawa. What do you think? Finally, Azinga gets his shot at the IBF championship.
I'm very excited for Azinga, and I'm very excited about the way Azinga came back after his first defeat. You know, I was ringside there when he fought Rakimov. Very intense fight. He was on your edge of your seat all the time. Lots of pressure from Rakimov, lots of good punches going in from Azinga. I think he hurt Rakimov a bit to a body there. And eventually it went the way it went, and Azinga got stopped, and there was all the controversy about the drugs and the selling sports afterwards. And Azinga came back well by beating Martin Ward in America, which I think was a difficult fight for a different reason, right? Because Ward was busy, and Azinga is not so busy always. He starts slowly. So I was afraid that if a fight might be close, Azinga might make the decision. That's what worried me. But he came back in style. He stopped Ward. You know, that was a way to come back from it. And he was supposed to wait for the winner of Rakimov and Kenichi Ogawa for a vacant IBF title. Rakimov, I believe, got injured.
Yeah.
And here he put himself straight into a world title fight. So finally, he's got a bit of luck on his side. He must just stay away from falls now. Otherwise, we might not get to a title shot.
Yes. No, that's true. No. It also, I mean, there were a lot of frustrations, you know, with the postponements of the Ogawa Rakimov fight. You know, that was very frustrating, you know, because he had already won the shot to challenge.
Yes. Well, I think it's a good fight for Azinga Fuzile. I think it's a winnable fight for him. There are no easy fights at that level. But if I were Colin Nathan and Chief Nchekanye, I would be happy with the choice of Kenichi Ogawa instead of maybe Rakimov or Jojo Diaz, because Ogawa, he's not a stylistically complex guy to figure out. Like most Japanese fighters, he's rough, he's tough, he's strong. He can punch a little bit and comes forward. You know, he'll step back a little bit, and then he attacks you with he likes his left hook to the body, leads rights. He likes those kind of punches. He'll throw maybe 2 or 3, but he also throws single shots. He's not a volume puncher unless he gets uncomfortable, you know. And I also watched his fight against Teofemo. It was for a vacant IBF title. He won that, and then he got tested for something illegal, and it got declared a no contest. But it was a very close fight, and Farmer gave him lots and lots of trouble. And Farmer, as you know, he's a southpaw like Azinga. And I don't notice this Ogawa, he hasn't got movement. He stands up straight. And Farmer hit him with a straight left from southpaw stance all the time. But he ate it. And I think Azinga's got better power than Devin Farmer does. And I think that straight left is going to work for Azinga. But he's got to be on his P's and Q's. He'll have to be in terrific shape, and he'll have to be wary of not letting Kenichi Ogawa outwork him, because against Farmer, Ogawa increased his work rate to more what he normally does. And I think that busyness of a shot's not always landing so clearly, but going into the body and so on, influence the judges, and it got him not in the card. So that's the thing that Azinga must be aware of.
Yes. No, I agree fully with you. Ogawa fight also, I saw that he enjoys when he's attacking. That when it's time for him to receive, his defense, as well as putting it, his stands, right up, and he's always available to take blows. So no, that's going to be a challenge.
If you look at Ogawa's last fight, if you look at Ogawa's last fight against Kazuhiro Nishitani there in Japan, he got dropped by a short right as Nishitani went in. He wasn't well enough on points, but he got dropped. He can hurt the guy, and you can hit the guy. Isn't it? He's been stopped early in his career when he was still developing. He can be stopped. So I think Azinga, I have to favor him in this fight.
Yeah. No. I think, with this partnership with the Chief, what they've displayed for us in the US, it looks like at least they are able to communicate much better,
I think it looks like things are clicking in the corner. I think, in fact, after all this controversy and mud throwing about Azinga moving from Chief to Colin Nathan and back again to Chief, at the end of the day, I think it's a good combination, because Colin is an excellent manager. He's been known mostly as a trainer, but let's be honest, he's an even better manager. Look what he did to Moruti Mtalane's career, you know. Completely took him out of a mothballs and reset his career. And he gets his guys the right fights. And, you know, why not Chief in the corner and Colin in the management chair? It seems to work.
Yes. Looks well. Yeah, it works very well. And I think everyone is happy with this deal. You know, I mean, we must say thank you and actual congratulations to Noma Ganjani, Rumble Africa Promotions, and everyone who has made this fight possible, you know, because we really needed this fight. I mean, this boy needed this fight. You could see that, you know, I mean, anything else but the IBF championship shot. Now he's got it, so wish him all the best. And yeah, I agree with you.
And then Rumble Africa has done a tremendous job, and they've got Azinga fighting for the world title, as you've said, and 7-18 on Chinga, one eliminator, and he has really got a tough one against Felix Alvarado coming up for the IBF Junior Flyweight title, and that I think is a tough call. But we'll see how special the one is. I hope he is very special, and I hope he brings it home.
Yeah. No, thanks, Droeks. Thanks, Droeks. I think I've taken you for close to 5 minutes now, and I promised you for an interview for 30 minutes. It's because that this discussion has been interesting, and I hope that the followers of our YouTube channel are excited by what we are discussing. But they must not forget to subscribe, because what is going to keep this channel going is the numbers. You know, how many subscribers are we able to get? So people must subscribe on the channel so that we can continue bringing you the best boxing content in the country. And now maybe I can ask you a last question. It's just a multiple choice question. I know you'll get this one right. Please give us your top 5 pound for pound.
Right now in the world. Okay.
Yes, right now in the world.
Right now in the world. You know, there's a combination that you can't really argue too much. Now, on the number 1 spot for me, I think it's between 2 guys now. And one is fighting Saturday. That's Canelo Alvarez. He's fought a whole slew of top fighters, and his form is excellent at the moment. And then we've got the guy who put up a masterclass of boxing, and that's Alexander Usyk, the former world cruiserweight champion, undisputed cruiserweight champion, that beat Anthony Joshua.
I thought you were going to say Fury.
And he beat Anthony Joshua. That's Alexander Usyk. Now Usyk has got a much not as a heavyweight, but as a fighter, has got a much deeper resume than a guy like Tyson Fury has. You know, he cleaned out cruiserweights, became a 4-belt champion there, winning the World Boxing Super Series. He basically cleaned the division out. He beat Montabiso Mkunu, he beat Glovaski, he beat Murat Dasiev, he beat the current champion Marius Breeders in Latvia. He's done it all on the road. Beat Tony Bellew in the UK. And as a heavyweight, I'll admit, he looked very, very so-so. And I didn't think that he'll have the power to get over the hill against Joshua. I thought he'd give him a difficult fight, but he'd lose on points. But I think he put on a masterclass against Joshua. So I think he really should be in the position for that spot. But, you know, right now I'm going to put Canelo Alvarez at number 1. And I'm going to put Alexander Usyk at number 2 on the strength of his really great performance that he did. You know, if Alvarez maybe looks bad against Plant and Usyk managed to do the same thing again against Joshua in a rematch, that could change. And then after that, you know, I'm a big Monster fan, Naoya Inoue. You know, he's lost a bit of momentum here with COVID and lockdown. Casimiro fight that didn't happen, but he's a dominant bantamweight champion. He's the rings bantamweight champion.
He is.
You know, that guy is one of my favorite fighters to watch. That epic fight he had against Donita Donaire. You know, pay attention to the smaller guys. So I will put Naoya Inoue at number 3. Number 4, then we have Terence Crawford. He's still undefeated, but his career has stalled.
Yes.
As a welterweight, Errol Spence is ahead of him. But Errol Spence has had those unfortunate things of a car accident now, the detached retina injury. But Terence Crawford was a dominant force at lightweight, unified all 4 belts at junior welterweight. And at welterweight, since beating Jeff Horn for WBO title, his career is stalling, but I still think a very, very good fighter. So I'll have Terence Crawford up there at number 4.
Okay, good. And the last one?
5. Now the more lower you get, the more difficult it becomes. A lot of people will have Tyson Fury there, but as great as Fury's performances have been against Deontay Wilder and that upset years ago against Klitschko, after those 2 names on his record, it gets a little bit thin. If you look at the fight against Wilder, the latest one, it was a great fight, right? We all loved that fight, but was it, from a technical standpoint, the best boxing you have seen? No, they were exciting fight, great fight, but a little bit sloppy, eh? He got hit to canvas there a couple of times. I can't put Tyson Fury at number 5. I kind of like the smaller guys, so Juan Francisco Estrada and Chocolatito Gonzalez came up with a big effort, a very good fight. And then we have Errol Spence. He hasn't put wrong yet. Estrada, the fight with Chocolatito was a little bit, I won't say controversial, but it was a close decision that a lot of people thought Chocolatito could have gotten it. So for that reason, I sort of reluctantly going to put Errol Spence there at number 5. But you'll have to keep fighting again soon. Depends on that injury, and we're going to know a lot more about Terence Crawford after he gets through his fight with Sean Porter.
Yes, no, I think boxing is highly competitive these days. We've got a lot of top boxers, so I agree with you. With the top 5 that you have. So no, thank you very much and congratulations. So let's end it here for now. I'm sure when time permits, we'll arrange for another one. Let's allow people to comment. Enkoska Cole via Danki. So the video. Oh, yes. Yeah, so the video is going to be on YouTube a couple of minutes after we end this broadcast, and the people can watch it and comment, and also on Facebook. So thank you very much, Droeks. Enjoy Cape Town in Stellenbosch.
I am sitting in my home here in Stellenbosch at the moment. Thank you. It was nice talking to you.
Okay.
I hope we do it again soon.
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon. All right.